Hello students, welcome to new video. In this we are going to study module 4. Actually module 4 is from second textbook, that is by Alan B. Downey, and the textbook title is Think Python, How to Think Like a Computer Scientist. So only see, we have 5 modules in that. 1, 2, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 5 are from textbook 1 and module 4 is from textbook 2. Okay, only one module is from textbook 2. So this module comprises of 3 chapters. In that the first chapter is classes and object, that already you have studied in Java. So what do you mean by classes? Classes are blueprint, right, that have states, behaviors or attributes. States or attributes, we can call it as a features also. So it will have states or features and behaviors, methods, right, methods that acts on those features, right. So class is a blueprint which contains features and methods, where methods acts on features. Okay, now uh, proceeding further, okay, we have studied in previous classes that how to use Python defined classes, Python defined functions, right, Python types, that integer, okay, then floating point numbers, all those things. But now we are defining our own types. I have already taught you in Java that whenever you are creating a class means you are creating a new data type, right. So here the same thing, programmer defined types. We have used many of Python's built-in types. Now we are going to define a new type. See, whenever you are declaring a class means you are defining a new type. Okay, and see, this chapter will be very simple and very basics. There is no complex programming like Java that we have studied in 4th and 5th semester. Okay, so here only simple concepts, how to create a class and what to include in that class and all. Okay, no inheritance and all for you according to VTU syllabus. Okay, so as an example, we will create a type called point. So we will create a class called point. Actually type means class. Okay, type means class. Here we will create a class called point that represent a point on two-dimensional space. So how you represent a point in a two-dimensional space? X comma y, right? So a point on x, a value on x and a value on y represent a point, right? Okay, so there are several ways we might represent points in Python. First one, we could use store the coordinates separately in two variables, x and y, like this. We can have like x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 5. So now 4 comma 5, 4 comma 5. So this is what we can store like this, or we could store the coordinates as element in a list or tuple. In a element as the coordinates as list or tuple. Now we could create a new type, represent point as a object, So how to create a new class in Java? Sorry, not Java, Python. So to create a class in Python, you need to have a class keyword, same like Java, then a class name. Here we are taking point. Okay, class name, point. If you have attributes, see, if you have attributes you can declare attributes, but according to your syllabus, first we are not declaring any attributes. Okay, first we will have some comment line that, okay, it's a point class. Okay, point class. So just a class is created, no attributes at all, no attributes. See, you are not seeing any attributes here, just a one comment line that is just saying that it's a point class, done. Okay, so a class point is created without any attributes. At that time we will have many conflicts at that and these conflicts will defy many programming statistics. Okay, so we'll learn about those things later. Okay, now see, here in this we have created a class. If you need to create an object of that class in Java, we are using what? class name box, my box is equal to new operator, then constructor box, right? In Java we have created like this, right? Box, my box is equal to new box, right? But in Python what you need to do is just remove this class type, because in Python we are not using any types, right? And just new operator object will be created. So same thing, see, I need to create an object of this class point. Then suppose I will create object, what object he has created? Blank. So I will create a blank object. Blank is equal to, sorry, is equal to just point with parenthesis. Okay, so object will be created, blank object will be created. So it will not have anything. Okay, so blank doesn't have any feature till now. Say it is a object at this address. So the same, whenever you are creating object and printing it, it show you the address of that object. Okay, so it's a object of point class. Point class. Okay, now so in Python we have a liberty of creating attributes after assigning attributes after creating object, but it defies many programmable ethics according to Java. Okay, don't compare Java and Python. Okay, Java and Python. Okay, you will learn how these attributes will be declared in a class itself. Okay, so now we'll see here we are declaring two different variables. X and Y means two different features, attributes of a class called point, which is X and Y, but these X and Y are only for the object called blank. Okay, and they are having a value 3 and 4. Okay, we have created an object called blank, which is of type point, and it has two attributes X and Y, which is initializes to 3 and 4. Okay, so you can create another object blank 2 with three attributes, okay, with three attributes, but that object will have, that blank 1 will have three attributes, and blank will have just two attributes. Okay, now you can read the value of an attribute using same syntax like blank dot y and blank dot x. It will give you the value of x and y. Now see how to assign attributes. Now see, blank dot x is equal to 3.0, then blank dot y is equal to 4.0. okay, now see, you have created two features and initialized to some floating point value. Just x is not enough. See, just x is not enough. See, because see, this x was 4 previously that I have already declared here. So you can see that this is before my class started. So here I have just declared x with 4, right? So this x is 3 and this x is 4. Okay, so you need to call this x. So at that time you need to call like this: object name blank dot x. So it will show you 3.0. If you want the value of y, blank dot y. Okay, now so you can use the dot notation as part of many expressions. For example, see, distance is equal to math dot square root of blank dot x exponential of x, that is x was 3, 3 square is 9, then exponential of y, that 4 square is 16, 9 plus 16 is 25, 25 square root is 5, so distance will be 5. Okay, so what is actually it is, see how you find a distance between 2 points. Distance between 2 points, okay, see here, distance between origin and a point. Actually this is the formula for distance between origin and a point. Okay, so I think you have studied in your 8th 9th standard that distance between origin and point, the formula is square root of x square plus y square. Okay, so here you can pass an instance as an argument to argument in the usual way. For example, this print point function takes an argument called P, actually this P is an object of class called point. So what you're doing is you're printing the floating point value of X and Y with a format specifier here by providing X and Y values. Okay, so you can pass objects as a parameter to any function. If you pass object as a parameter to a function, so all the features of that object will be passed to that function. Okay, now next slide is rectangles. Suppose in this case you want to create a rectangle. Suppose you have created a class called rectangle. So rectangle can be created in two ways. There are different ways. He has mentioned, the author has mentioned two ways. You could specify one corner of a rectangle or the center, then width and height. So here in this method, what you are declaring is you are just declaring one point. See, you are just declaring one point. Okay, so the coordinates of this corner or corner, then you need to mention width and height. Once you have mentioned width and height, then you can create a rectangle. So this means this class rectangle need what? The coordinates of this point. You can take any point. Okay, if you take this point, the coordinate will be 0, 0. Okay, so if you consider this as a corner, then it will have X and Y value. Means this corner point belongs to a class called point, and this point attribute and the width and height belongs to class called rectangle. Okay, see here. So if you create a class called rectangle, which will have three attributes, in that width, height and a corner, and the corner represents a point in two dimension, X and Y, and actually this corner is an object of a class called point. Okay, see here, you have created a object of class called rectangle, and the object name is box. Box is equal to rectangle. Box dot width is equal to 100, height is equal to 200, and box dot corner is an object of class called point, and you need to specify X and Y value. So box dot corner dot X, box is object of rectangle, box dot corner dot X is equal to 0, 0. So here he is taking X and Y as origin. This point he is considering. Okay, this point he is considering. Okay, now slide is instance as a return values. Instances means object as a return value. You can use object as a return values to a function. Okay, suppose if you want to find the center of a rectangle, so he has defined one function called find center. Then it is taking rectangle object. It is taking object of rectangle as a argument. Now see, if you just declare a class called rectangle, and will not have any attributes here. Like just rectangle here. Okay, now the class rectangle is created. Now we need to assign the attributes for that. First we need to create the object of that. Rect is equal to rectangle. So object is created. Now rect dot width is equal to, we'll take the same value as the author, 100 and 200, 100.0, and rect dot height is equal to 200.0. Now the next attribute is a corner, which is object of class called point, right? How to create? See, rect dot corner. Before that we have not created the class called point, so we need to create a class called point, so it is just representing point. Then see rect dot corner is equal to point. Now the object is created. Now this point should have x and y values. So rect dot corner dot x is equal to some 3.0. Okay, we'll take origin as a point. Okay, 0.0. Then rect dot corner dot y is equal to 0.0. Okay, so 0. So we are taking corner point as our origin. Then we have mentioned the width and height. Now suppose you want to find the center of a rectangle. At that time here he is declaring a function called find center, and we are passing rect as a argument. Okay, so let me declare this function here. Okay, rect we have rect object, right? Then have these lines here. Say point P object you are creating, and you are storing the values that the center value coordinates of center. See here what you're doing, rect dot corner dot x. What was the value of x? 0. 0 plus width was 100. 0 plus 100 divided by 2, that is 50. 50 will be stored into x, and see rect dot corner dot y, that is 0 plus 200. 0 plus 200, then 200 divided by 200. So x will store now 50 and y will store 100. Now when you are returning P, see P is object of point, okay, and you want coordinates of a center. So you are returning P. You are not returning P dot x and P dot y. You are just returning P, and P will have two attributes, that is x and y, to a calling function. Now if you want to use this function find center, first you need to declare an object of point class, because we need only x and y value, right? You need to declare object of point class. Then the return value we need to store under P1. First you need to call, now you need to call this find center. See, now P1 will have the values of x and y. See P1 dot x comma P1 dot y, and those are what? 50 and 100. Okay, this is how you return objects. Okay, when you are returning object, you can return P dot x and P dot y also. Okay, at that time it will just, you need to use just here print. See, I will show you here P dot, sorry, I cannot edit here. So if you declare this function like this without an object, just attributes, so instead of this P, if you have just written P dot x and P dot y, okay, P dot x and P dot y, while using this function what you need to do is, it is returning P dot x and P dot y. So here a little bit error, so here comma, actually comma, okay, comma. Now you need to print the value of x and y. What you need to do, just print and call this function. Now it is not returning object, it is returning attributes. So it will show you 50 and 100. See, if you have used this function, declared this function, and you are returning object, not attributes. At that time, if you use print function, the same thing here, you are just getting an address, because what you are doing, you are printing a returned object. Okay, you are just printing a returned object. Understood? So here the next slide is objects are mutable. Yes, objects are mutable. The attributes of the objects are mutable. See, if you create a class object called my box, Then my box dot width, my box dot height, if you change it to some different values, they are mutable, right? They are editable. So you are changing the values of the attributes of that object, right? So here you can change the state of an object by making an assignment to one of its attributes. For example, to change the size of the rectangle without changing its position, without changing its address, you can modify the value of the width and height. See, box dot width is equal to box dot width plus 50. Previously it was 100, then you have added 50, it becomes 150. Okay, now box dot width is equal to box dot height plus 100. Previously the height was 200, now you have added 100, means it is now 300, right? So here again you have changed the box width and height. Here in the previous example you can see that the box width was 100 and box height was 200, right? Then suddenly you have added 50 to it, so it becomes 150. Width will be 150 and height will be 300. Again you are writing a function called grow rectangle, where you are passing a object of a rectangle class and d width and d height, the value you need to add to width and height. Now rectangle dot width, add d width, add it to it d width. See, rect dot width plus is equal to d width means actually what? Rect dot width is equal to rect dot width plus d width. Okay, what you are doing is you are passing the object of a rectangle class and the values that you need to add to width and height of that rectangle. Now here see, you have written this function box dot width, box dot height was 150 and 300, 150 and 300. Then what you have done, you have passed box object as a first argument according to this function. Then you have passed 50 as d width and 100 as d height. So this means 50 is added to now 150, that becomes 200, and 100 is added to now 300, that becomes 400. Now box dot width and box dot height, you are getting 200 and 400. Okay, so previously box dot width and box dot height was 150 and 300. Suddenly you have used grow rectangle method by passing box as a object for the object as a first argument, then 50 and 100 as d width and d height. Then it has changed its value from 150 to 200 and 300 to 400. This is how the objects are mutable. Okay, then now copying one object into another object. See, whenever you are aliasing, means you had one object called box, right? Suddenly you pass this object as an argument to a method called grow rectangle. See, grow rectangle is taking first argument as a object of a class called rectangle, right? Previously it was having this value, now it is having these values. Sometimes you will forget that this is called aliasing actually, that you have already studied in previous chapters. So aliasing will create unexpected outputs. Previously the box width was 150. After calling grow rectangle, its width is 200. So you may forget that you have called this function if the code is lengthy, or you will get a different result for calculation and all. So at that time, if you want to preserve the previous values, at that time you can use copying function. Aliasing can make a program difficult to read because changes in one place might have unexpected effect on another place. So that's why you need to store, if you want to store the values before modification, you can use a copy method. It is hard to keep track all of the variables that might refer to given object. So sometimes you will forget that where I have changed and what was the previous values and all. So copying an object is often an alternative to aliasing. So here, if you copy one object into another object, it will be very easy to get previous values. Now see here, copy module means you need to import a copy package for copying one object into another object. See, we have a point called P1 which is object of point, then it is having x value 3 and y value 4. Then you need to copy this object into another object P2. Okay, so P2 is equal to copy dot copy P1. See, copy was a package name, and copy is a method which take one argument, which is object it need to copy into P2. Okay, and see, according to Java, whenever you are having two objects, object 1 and object 2, 1 and 2, and if you are writing like this, OB2 is equal to OB1, then both are pointing to OB1 and OB2, both are pointing to same memory address that you have already studied in previous class. But in Python copy method, this is not the same. In Python it is different. How? See, once you have used a copy method, so suppose in our case P2 was copying P1, then P1 and P2 will not be referring the same address, they will be referring two different addresses where P1's values and P2 values will be same, two different addresses. Okay, means if you make modification here, it will not reflect in P2. Okay, or if you make modification in P2, it will not reflect in P1. But in Java it was what? OB1 and OB2 both are pointing to same memory address. If you make changes over here, it will reflect in both OB1 and OB2. Okay, copy is different from object reference. Now here we had a class called point which has two attributes x and y. You are copying into P2. See, copy was a package name and copy is a method name, where it takes one argument object, it need to copy into another object. Now when we are printing P1, it will give you 3, 4, and when you are printing P2, it will give you 3, 4. Both are pointing to same method. See, it is not a print method, it is print point. That we have already seen here, I think. See, print point method. Okay, print point method. Now it is both P1 and P2 are showing the values 3, 4. Now we are checking that P1 and P2 points to same address. P1 is P2, false. Okay, P1 is P2, false. The thing is, in rectangle class we had a object of a class called point. Means it's actually a attribute of rectangle, but it's an object of a class called point. If you just use a copy, what will happen is if you just use a copy method, see, box2 is equal to copy dot copy box. Here box is an object of a rectangle class and box2 is also an object of rectangle class, and you need to copy the box into box2. At that time you are using box2 is equal to copy dot copy box. See, we are copying box into box2. So copy dot copy box into box2. In this case, if you are using a copy method, just a copy method, in this case what will happen is box2's box 1's, see, this box attributes will be copied into box2. Okay, but with corner attribute, both box and box2 points to same memory address. See here, box2 is box, false. No, box2 is having different memory location and box1 is having different memory location for width and height. But for corner, box2 dot corner is box dot corner, true, because both are pointing to same memory location. So this is called, actually this copy is called shallow copy. This copy is called actually shallow copy. If you wanted to copy this object into a separate memory location, at that time you need to use a deep copy method. The copy module provides a method named deep copy that copies not only the object but also object it refers to, not only the object box into box 2 but the object that it is referring to. Box is referring corner, so this corner is also copied into box 2. See now, box 3 copy dot deep dot deep copy box. Now you are copying box object width, height and corner into box 3 using a method called deep copy. So it will have its own copy of box 3, will have its own memory location for width, height and corner. Width, height and corner. So box 3 is box, false. Box 3 dot corner is box dot corner, false. Okay, but if you are using copy, what will happen is, if you make a modification in width, it will not reflect in box 2. Height, it will not reflect in box 2, but if you make a modification in corner object x and y, it will reflect in box 2. If you use deep copy, they will have individual addresses, and if you change the value of any one object, it will not reflect in any other object. Okay, hope you have understood. This is called shallow copy and this is deep copy. Okay, now this completes your classes and object chapter. Okay, you have an exercise. This is your exercise. Okay, the code for this exercise is pause the video and take a screenshots. Okay, so this is your exercise definition, then this is the program. Try to understand. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. So I'm scrolling down. This is the biggest program that you have seen till now. Okay, try to read this program, try to practice this program, okay, on your system. It's very easy and very interesting program. Okay, if you don't understand anything, you can call me. See, whatever the things that you have studied, the same thing are here in this program. An entire chapter is covered in this program. Okay, so up to next video, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.